convicted of 2 murders, been found not guilty of 1, although I was known to have done it, acquitted of it, even though it was undeniable, and I've had another one that I was charged with but never taken to court on, successfully taken to court on, and several others I've been accused of. So let's put it like that, where I may have done it, I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, that's who I am. I'm 56 years old, I'll never get out of prison. And if you motherfuckers don't shut up, excuse me, I don't know if you guys can, quiet it down enough. Quiet it down. It's all right. That's all right. I got it. That helps. Somebody's going to help us keep it quiet.
Can you talk about the James Dillingham murder, and then we can move on to the next homicide?
Yeah, Dillingham was, I was going through a divorce, and I was pretty pissed off, emotionally fucked up. Yeah, really emotionally fucked up. And with Dillingham was just a rarity. I didn't know the guy. It just came up due to the way he treated my co-defendant and through things, and I went over there and beat him to death and killed him. Simple as that. Beat him to death in a hotel room, and or beat him and then shot him. Next question. That's pretty. I can't say much about the guy, and I can't give you much of a reason for it, other than I was in a really pissed off state of mind, frame of mind that night, and that led to it. And I was probably searching for any reason in the world to go hurt somebody, which is what I generally do when I get stressed out. Is I go find somebody to hurt, and he just became he ended up on my path due to the fact I stopped somewhere looking for pills, and they brought him up, and one thing led to another, and the lady took me over there to where he was at, and that's the rest of the story. I can't talk bad about him, can't talk good about him. I don't know the guy. Couldn't fight. I know that, and I'm not going to shame him for that, but he was more or less simply because I didn't need the money. She said he had or whatever. I didn't need any money. I had plenty of money. I just owned a tattoo shop, and I just went the weekend working. And I make a couple grand a weekend, so I didn't have any need for the money at all. It was just me being a kind of. I wanted to follow my wife over to her boyfriend's house because that was the biggest thing. Because when she went that way, but I knew if I went there, I'd kill her and him. And then I didn't want to be that guy that goes and kills his wife or his wife's boyfriend. So I went to town, went to Toledo instead, and ended up at a dope house and ended up taking advantage of the first person that needed a good ass kicking. And that's what happened. He made himself a target to me. Simple as that. And the next murder would be the woman that took me to the Dillingham crime scene. She swore she'd never go to jail for it, and she didn't. When someone tells you they're not going to go to jail for a murder that they're equally involved in, you got to do the math. Now, if you're not going to go to jail, you're not going to go to jail. She said she wasn't going to go to jail, so she told me some other lies, things I thought were lies at the time, and it was enough to anger me. And I still thought maybe I could slide out of the mistake I'd made with killing Dillingham. I'm mad at myself for being so emotional that night, and allowing the situation with my divorce to get me off my square more or less, and send me out on a mission like that where I took somebody with me. Normally, if you're going to when I do anything like that, I'm in that mood, I don't take anybody with me. Just, a witness is a witness is a witness, and they will tell. And when the cops want you, in Toledo, I'd already been found not guilty of the one manslaughter, and the cops wanted me. As soon as they heard my name, that's all they wanted. They wanted me. It was their chance to get me again. And there it is. And I ended up, when she said she wasn't going to go to jail, she abandoned her kids, which I did ask her to bring with us, till we figured out if they were after us or not. Plus, and nobody. She's my co-defendant. I ended up putting her to sleep. And you got to do the math. If somebody's going to snitch, you do the math. I told her we'll go back, we'll make it to manslaughter, because it was actually manslaughter in the motel room. It wasn't. That's 8 to 12 years flat. I'd have been out. But I knew to say, well, the cops are not good people. They tend to lie and jap charges up. They'll make it a lot higher than it is. They'll turn a manslaughter into a murder into an aggravated murder, an aggravated murder into a death row case. And this guy was beaten and shot. So their first instinct should have been that it could have been a manslaughter, because who gets beat up and then shot? And I mean, he was beaten good. So the shooting came last, and it should have been a manslaughter. They wanted to make it aggravated murder as soon as they heard it was my name, put me on death row. And I could not, at that time, in my mental state, strung out on drugs and everything else, I couldn't mentally, risk the fact of letting this lady go back and cut a deal to tell on me that I was a robbery, murder, and all this other stuff, you know what I mean? And make it a murder, or make it an aggravated murder, put me on death row. And I thought I cleaned up everything. I thought I cleaned up all the witnesses, and turns out a guy that wasn't a witness at all got arrested, and they made a deal with him. And his name was Ernest Smith, and they made a deal with him to, they told him 3 or 4 different stories, took him to find a pistol that he has no idea where that pistol is, had no idea where the pistol was. And but he kept taking him to this pond, and every time he come back, he'd have a new recording. And I would have copped out and everything, and not argued with the cops until they lied to me. This is, how would I put it? Okay, people think police are working a job like on TV, where it's all exciting, and they pack all this excitement in an hour, and a murder every week, and a cop shoots somebody every week, and all this other hostage situation, all this goofy lying shit. That's all make believe. Cops have an incredibly boring career, if any of them ever even get to pull their gun on anybody. So when they're given a chance and they meet a murderer, they get somebody, and they can, they'll blow a story up pretty big, and that's not fair. And that is this systemic racism and all. And it's not that it was racist against me or anything. I won't say that, but because they trick these young black kids into saying, "Oh, you're in a gang," and now all of a sudden they can go home. The cop can go home and say, "Yeah, I arrested a gangbanger for a murder." No, you arrested some stupid ass kid, who shot somebody on a manslaughter. But because he says he's in a gang and he's now you amped his charge up, on his words. And this kid's not in a gang or anything else, but he's agreed that he's in a neighborhood he's a gang. So they blow the charges up. To me, that's systemic racism. Most of the guys in prison are in prison for doing something. It just might not be exactly what they were convicted of. Does that make sense? I don't know. Killing is not the same thing as a murder. Murder, it's a decision. You have to make that decision. You have to decide to go kill somebody. Like when I decided after I beat on James Dillingham long enough, and he called me bitch, I pulled the trigger and blew his fucking heart out. He said the way he said, "I'm not worried about that gun. You're not gonna shoot me, bitch." I blew his heart out. Simple as that. I didn't hit the wall behind him. I didn't hit some little kid walking up the street behind him and fire 8 shots. I looked at the second button on his shirt and went just to his left of it and blew his fucking heart out. Night, night, bitch. He did. Why this? I had no idea. I guess it was pride that he could show me that he could get back up on his feet after I'd split his head and fucked him up the way I had. And so I guess it was his pride, and he stood there and he said, "I ain't worried about you." And I blew his heart out. And I'm not bragging about it or anything. I'm just being completely honest with you about it. And I'm not bragging to brag or put down my co-defendant either. But she made a joke as soon as it was done. We were driving back. Driving away, and she said, "Boy, you sure showed me how to handle that." I mean, it's a weird scene. I mean, but actually, I would still be out there running around doing my thing if I hadn't been going through the divorce and the breakup the way I was. If my wife had turned my truck, had my name on my shop on it, and went towards her parents' house, I wouldn't have went to Toledo that night. I went on home. But she went towards where I thought her boyfriend lived, and if I didn't want to follow her, so I went to Toledo. Because if I'd have followed her, I'd have killed her, him. I'd have killed everything I'd have killed his dogs, cats, his mom, whatever. Anything in between me and them, if I'd have caught them together, I'd have killed them. And I didn't want to be that guy, you know what I mean? I've always tried to be friends with my exes. My exes always tend to remain friends. That's because, shit happens. You fall apart. But I was I invested a lot with this wife. It was the best time of my life. I owned several businesses, and she got more and more depressed. The house, 5 acres pond, was doing really good. 71 Chevelle, new vehicles, old vehicles, go to Sturgis, bikes, whatever. And she, plenty of money, everything's the best I've ever done in my life. Several businesses at one time, and she was always depressed about it. Didn't like it because her dad had been an engineer. That's the best way to put it. And I could never measure up to him, I guess. And but then again, part of me knows that I picked someone that I could never please. I just never pleased her, and let's put it like that. So when the breakup came, I'm mostly responsible for the breakup. But when the breakup came, that was my good reason to go put somebody to sleep, I guess. Put a few people to sleep, and I did. That's that's part of what I do. I look for an emotional reason, something that'll help me go put somebody to sleep. And I'm not blaming my ex-wife or any of that. I'm not blaming anything. I'm blaming myself. So,
right. We have a few questions in the chat now. And the first being, what's your daily routine like in prison?
I will go in tonight after 9 o'clock lockup because I'm out right now until 9 at night. But I was out from 6. I'll be out from 6 till 9 tonight because I'm lowering. I'm in max, but I'm getting lower. I'm in what they call step down from level 5. I'm on level 4A. And I will go in the cell and I'll probably paint until 5:36 in the morning. Paint or draw, write. I write books and write stories and books and stuff like that. And I'll probably sit there and paint or draw until 5, 6 in the morning. Then I'll go to sleep until about noon tomorrow. And I'll get up and do it all over again. Hang out through the afternoon. Paint, draw, bullshit. Listen to music on the phone. They've got streaming music. God, I love it. Who ever thought streaming music? Wow. Got so much punk rock on the player, it's unreal. Anyways, that's my routine. Breakfast will come at 6:30, lunch around noon, dinner around 5. It's nothing to brag about. The food. Commissary comes every 2 weeks on Wednesday. Every 2 weeks. It'll be here this Wednesday. We now have phones in our cell, so that's nice. They give us old movies to watch.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Unless I'm arguing with somebody or some comes in to get high on it, and every now and then that happens. So that changes things. That's very rare anymore, in here. But if it does, I'll be drunk and screaming out my door and cussing somebody out. But that's my routine.
All right, I'll be waiting when you call again.
I'll call y'all right back.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. I'll be here.
Thank you for using GTL.
All right, he'll call right back. Let's see.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from
Otto Smith.
an inmate at the Ohio State Penitentiary. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Okay, so the next question is, do you feel like you are where you should be based on your life events?
Yeah, that's a two-edged sword there, man. I do believe I'm where I should be. I know that if I got out and somebody pissed me off, I would kill again. Because I know me, I know my nature. And that's why I was willing to cop out and talk and just break free, because I couldn't believe I'd self-destructed with my life the way I had. When I finally thought I'd gotten over all these monsters from my youth and past. And, but then again, at the same time, the system has to, it needs to become more like other countries where they give these guys a second chance. Because I'm also not the same person I was. And I have to wonder if I'd spent the last 16 years knowing that I was going to go home and could change, or that that I could earn a parole. Yeah, let's put it that way. When you earn a parole, work, behave, stay out of trouble. One, I wouldn't be in Supermax now. Right now, I have no reason not to be. And so if somebody pisses me off, I don't give a fuck. I stab them or jump them, whatever. I don't care. Because there's, the beauty of Supermax is you're in a one-man cell. I don't have to sell with anybody. I don't have to put up with any shit. I don't have to sell them fart. I don't have to listen to them. I don't have to share the stuff. It's better in a sense. But on the other token, if they would allow guys to earn a parole and try to retrain their brain a little bit, man, and help them see that, hey, you can earn a parole, I think guys would, I know the system needs that. It doesn't need that for me. I don't think I belong out there because I know me. I'm mean enough to these dudes in here. And I'm a nice guy. I love people. That's the problem. But if I think you're getting over on me or you're getting over on somebody else, I'm going to fuck your world up. And that's pretty much the truth of it. I mean, I allowed a stepfather who was 280, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", to seriously abuse me, beat, small. I've got scars, and everything else. And then when I finally stood up to him, he wouldn't fight me. And that meant that all those years, I could have said, and crowded this dude, he'd have ran. So that meant that for a good 3 or 4 years when I was in my teens, I could have growled at this guy and come at him, and he ran. He was a coward. So that means that basically, I'm always, if I think somebody's trying to get over on me, I think they see me as a bitch or a coward, and I clock the fuck out. And it's a good way to end it. Because I don't really care. It's this me, it's this psychological thing, I guess. And it got bad when I started allowing it and get into pressure and have build up pressure, and then I would go seek an outlet to release it, put myself in a position where somebody would underestimate me. And, with the only white guy in an all black neighborhood, making jokes about black guys. I've done that. Picking fights, and picking fights because I've got a 9-inch knife on me, you know what I mean? I'm good, and I'll use it. And they don't know it, and I feel bad at times when I do that, but I don't feel bad about the people because they fell for it, But I don't think I belong out, but I think the system needs to change because we're bringing kids in here at 18 years old and we're locking them in Supermax. And you can be anybody you want to be behind the door, When you get out there around other people, you can't be. Now they're going to go home after a few years, and they're not dangerous. They've been, they've got to do something. The system has to change. Not for me, for other people. I'm where, I don't really care. I know that I'm broken, and I know that it's broken in ways that are unfixable. If you push my buttons, I'm going to get you. That's about the best way to put it. So,
right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, another question is, if you weren't incarcerated today, what do you think you'd be doing with your life?
Oh, I'd be tattooing. Yeah, I wouldn't be the guy in the day. I would be reading and writing, and I would have written books. I've written a couple books now, and I got them on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, stuff like that. Novels. I won't tell my life story, but so I'm proud of that. That's the day. I'm proud of that. That's an accomplishment. I never went to school, so that was an accomplishment I never thought I'd have. But I would be in a tattoo shop, or I'd be painting murals. I would have carried on with what I was doing because I was good at it. I was good at it. I was considering volunteering at one time to go draw tattoo designs for military people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And, overseas while they were fighting in see if I could do something like that or teach people watercolor. But that's what I would be doing. I'd still be involved in that, or I'd be on a horse farm somewhere. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd be doing. But at the same time, I'd still be that same person that if you trip my trigger, you know, if I caught you being a bully, more or less.
Question is,
your ass. I'd kick that ass. I don't tolerate idiots. You know, I don't like bullies. There's no reason to be a bully. You know, I'm a grown man. I can get in it with the biggest, baddest guy on the planet. Why do I need to bully anybody lesser? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? I hate people like that. You know, and I know everybody. I know what I'm doing. I know who I'm fighting. You know, and it's not. You know, it's not right to these people that end up in what should be a simple bar fight with me, and I end up caving their skull in. You know, they're going into a simple bar fight. I'm going to get them. You know, it's due to my mental issues. But anyways, how's that?
Right. So
I thought there'd be more Halloween jokes here, but there really aren't a lot of jokes anymore. What's happening?
So another question is, so in regards to the 2 homicides you're convicted of and the cold cases that you claim responsibility for that we'll talk about in a little bit if we have time, what is your favorite kill and why? That comes from a listener.
The kill's not the favorite. All right, look, you got to do the math, man. The math that if you tie somebody down and fuck their world up, you know what I mean? And have your way with it. Somebody stole something from my tattoo shop while my wife was watching it, and I was incarcerated for beating up some guys, running over some guys, some other things. And then this idiot has the audacity to come into the shop late one night when I was there by myself. And he found out that a dentist chair actually weighs 600 pounds. Because when you strap them to the headrest, they cannot stand up and get away. You know? And I strapped him down and beat the holy fuck out of him. Played with him, stabbed him, had a good time. All the while telling him that, you know, bitch, you made my wife cry because something got stolen out of my shop. Simple as that. You know what I mean? The kill's simple, but because you can't let him go, I would have preferred to let him go and walk around and tell everybody in the world, yeah, you guys stole from me. Exactly. Motherfucker. You know what I mean? That would be one of my favorites, and but like I said, the regret is I couldn't have let him live because he's going to tell. They're going to tell. Anybody that we're so trained nowadays that anybody that is a threat to us, we call somebody to save us. The cavemen didn't have no fucking body to call. You know, so they must have had pretty good manners. Because there was nobody to call to pull somebody off of. You know, death was around the corner. And nowadays, if I'd have done something like that, that dude would have ran to the police and then got victims of crime money. So the motherfucker's got to go to sleep. It's over. You know, he's got to go to sleep. That was a good one. And then the 2 I got in my shop in Bowling Green they were cool because it was 2 in a row right there within 3.5 minutes. I got the one and I went right upstairs and got the other. And that was pretty cool. And none of them really mattered because the death is so mechanical with it certain ways. So let me put it like that. Walking out of the woods 5 minutes after killing somebody and having a police car pull up and them talk to you and me talk my way out of getting in trouble without giving them a good explanation or any explanation at all why I just come out of this woods, that was pretty exciting. I mean, if that's what the person wants to know, you know, it was pretty exciting doing that, you know. But, yeah, that's, I guess, the best. That's the best way to explain it. I don't have any that I actually liked more than the other. I like the events leading up to them or around it, but the actual killing, you know, shit like that, you know, that's all mechanical. It's putting a horse to sleep. You know, same thing with choosing. Deciding this animal has to go to sleep, it puts the fuck to sleep. Simple as that, you know. So it's all mechanical. Then you gotta toss them to get rid of the body. You know, it's harder to get rid of a body than it is to kill somebody. If anybody's out there listening right now and you want to go to the house and somebody's really irritating you, it takes 9 seconds to yoke somebody out. Get up beside them, shut off both sides of your jugular vein. They're going to pass out. It's called sleep roll. They go right to sleep and wrap the belt around their neck. They're dead. It's over. It's that simple. A 5-year-old little kid can catch you drunk and catch you and get you. It's that easy to kill somebody. You know, everything else is hard. Keeping your mouth shut, making sure you didn't leave any witnesses, making sure you don't, get any clues, make sure you don't get drunk, and telling yourself or any of that shit, you know what I mean? Did I leave DNA? What the fuck, man? Yeah, did I leave my fingerprints? Wait a minute, who saw me? That shit will eat at you, but it's all of these things make you high, too. They're all at different aspects of a high. There's so many elements of a high around it. There's so many elements of a high, that different types of high. Did I get away with it? Did I leave a cigarette butt? Did I, what the fuck? All of these things they give you different elements of high. And if your mind's weak, I guess you're paranoid anyways, that you would tell on yourself. So, anything else?
Yeah, another question, and this is probably the most normal question of the night that'll come through. So if you had a choice...
No, I haven't. No, I've never masturbated over anybody's body. Just joking.
Right. So this question is, if you had a choice, what magazine subscriptions would you choose other than tattoo magazines?
Photography, because it gives you pictures of the world. Listen, Supermax for me, I haven't been outside since October 12th, 2017. I'm not going outside since then. I have a 4-inch window that looks outside. I'm basically in a spaceship flying through space. This has got to be the same thing, spaceship, because you never go outside. So anything that gave me stuff I could draw or paint, you know what I mean, and expanded my view, my life, you know what I mean, it gave me more of a, gave me, that's optical, gave me better optics in my window. I can look out my window and it's the same scene year in and year out. Fortunately, the last day I was out, I went through, I flew from Tucson, Arizona to Chicago, or from Chicago to Cleveland. They removed me from the feds back to Ohio Supermax. And in the meantime, I've been locked up, they'd invented those yoga pants. So it was a wonderful plane ride. My last day out, I at least got to see what the yoga pants look like. Somebody needs to give that person an award, whoever invented those. Anything like that, or any Smithsonian. I read so much stuff like that when I can get it. Smithsonian's a good one. Smithsonian, anything about writing. I'm really into writing now. Like I said, I'm trying to teach myself to be a writer, and take some of the emotions. I was a broken child, so I grew up to be a broken adult. And there's no books to explain that in novel form, anyways, that, the common daily things that trip us up. There's a lot of people out there that get tripped up on common daily stuff. There's emotions that tie to it too. Like should I let a little kid see me kill somebody?
You have 1 minute remaining.
Well, yes and no. No's got to be the answer. But a guy like me, you would think that'd be the first thing I'd want to do. It's like, here, son, this is how you do this. You know what I mean? Oh no. Anyways, I got to call you right back.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be waiting.
You know how computers are. And yeah, but any kind of magazines that expands my horizons. I'm in a spaceship. I'm in a spaceship, man. I'm floating around outer space somewhere. But that's what essentially. But they don't let us get much anymore. So the world's they're trying to do away with mail in prison. All right, I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Thank you for using GTL.
If you all haven't noticed, Otto is quite the talker. If you all haven't noticed, Hopefully they didn't take the phone. We're supposed to have about 2.5 hours tonight. The interview I do have with Otto, I'll be re-recording in a few weeks. The sound quality was pretty terrible the first time, so I'll be re-recording that if anybody that's interested. Here he is.
That stuff. You will get letters back from me. And if, but look, there's always an email system, JPay, where GTL's got it, the phone system's got an email system, stuff like that. So you're more than welcome. I can call or whatever. And I'm more than welcome to talk to people about anything. I'm not going to lie to you about stuff. I won't sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? And I'm not proud. I'm not sitting here bragging. I'm telling you that I'm actually not bragging, although I laugh at times. It sounds like I really don't give a fuck about anybody I killed. You know, if they crossed my path, they had it coming. Believe it. That's how I feel about it. I feel bad for their family. And I feel bad for the situations that ended up in. I wasn't going around climbing anybody's house when there's kidnapping fucking good Christians or good hardworking Americans. You know what I mean? Most of the people I ever interacted with were out in the street, knee deep in dirt. You know what I mean? And equally as dirty as I was. You know, and to a certain degree, or maybe that's a falsehood I'm putting on, a way that I'm comforted in it so I can accept what I did. But it really, anyways, I'll get off. If you want to write me, I'm in Ohio. If you want to email me, track me down, I'm more than willing to talk to you. There it is.
So this next question, try to tread a little lightly so I don't get kicked off live. But the next question is, what's the worst thing you've seen happen to a sex offender in prison?
Okay, one. That is one of the biggest lies on TV. And men don't go home from prison and tell people that. Okay, now I've stabbed a sex offender. Ohio's rules are if it's personal. Ohio is a very money and hustle oriented state. Guys feed their family from prison in Ohio. It's just the way it is. It's always been that way. So our politics, what we call politics, are a little different. If the guy raped somebody you know or did something to somebody you know and you feel the need to go get him, go get him. Most of them just get extorted. Now, the worst I ever saw to a rapist was this got a guy, and he was always masturbating. It was an old Orient correctional, and he was always masturbating every time he walked by. They had these half walls, and he'd be sitting there masturbating, and he had these pictures, pen pals and stuff. And he was a true blue rapist. And we beat the dude into a coma, and he died like 6 months later. His brain swollen and died. Now, out west, they say they get the rapist and everything as soon as they do, but the systems are set up where the system gets sued if anything happens to these guys. So all the people involved in politics play that to their benefit, and they'll warn the guy, you can't be on the yard, so get off the yard. They'll give the guy 30 days to get his paperwork, so proving that he didn't do it, or to have a good excuse for why he's in prison on that type of charge. Well, when you give a guy 30 days, if he knows he's in the wrong, he runs to the police and goes to PC. So now, these guys that are sex offenders are actually doing better time than we will, because they're trusted, they're in prisons, they get out of their cell, they get more leniency because they're all in lower security, they're in protected custody. But this idea that in every state these guys are jumping on people. I know guys come home, they tell this lie. No, these guys get scared off. Guys know not to get off the bus if they got a sex offense. And today, in the 80s, you might not know. You might not know. You know what I mean? You might not know what the fucking dude did because you couldn't find it. But nowadays, you just get somebody to Google him or look him up on look at the county of his conviction. So people actually getting seriously hurt. Why do you think Jeffrey Dahmer walked around for, 8, 9 years? You know, nobody got his ass immediately. You know what I mean? And the guy that got him was bugged out as he was. So it was a rarity because people don't want to catch the time. That's basically what you don't run into people don't want to catch extra time for hurting that guy. But they're going to come home, they're going to tell you they were, they ran him off and everything else. Now we've killed, I shouldn't say that, but we've caused a couple of them to commit suicide. Let's put it that way. It's suggested to some people that they need to commit suicide, and they fall for it, and they commit suicide. That's just what it is. But don't believe the TV hype. If you're around some dude that did 2 or 3 years in prison, he comes home and he told you how him and his buddies used to beat up on sex offenders, he's a goddamn liar. Because he would have caught more time. You see the cost. There's a cost for doing that because the state will get sued by this pedophile, maggot-ass motherfucker will sue. I bitch smack him, everything. I don't have anything to lose by it. I'll bitch smack the fuck out of them in a heartbeat. I can't stand them. They move. They get away from me. Just because there's too many of them to kill. They're everywhere. And then, they are. They're literally everywhere. But don't believe that shit. Please don't. Don't fall for it. It's not. I promise you. And that your boyfriends, your uncle's nephew, prison that came out with he's a fucking lame with a paint job. Came out with all prison tattoos, talking about he was big time Aryan brother, everything else. He's full of shit. Okay, and this is from a big time Aryan brother. Dude's full of shit. The cost of hurting one of those people is far worse to these guys that are doing short time than it is. And there are not enough guys doing life who have nothing to lose. If I kill or hurt another person, I'll do another 10 years. Another 10 years in solitary confinement. I'm on 10-year long-term right now, and I'm 7 years into it. So right now they can put some idiot in here, and I'm basically going to let him go because I would like to get to a normal prison for a couple of years and see my grandkids. Meet my grandkids, say hi, hug them, have a couple good visits, and then I'd probably kill a sex offender, so fuck somebody and come back. Anyways, that's the truth of it about sex offenders. And yeah, but we've stabbed them. That Ariel dude that held those girls in Cleveland, he committed suicide. That you'll find out that at least in Ohio, that is a popular alternative for the ones that are actually, because you can convince a person to commit suicide pretty simple, and they realize that they're at the bottom of the barrel for the rest of their life. It's going to commit suicide, But anyways, next question.
So, what was going through your head when you committed your crimes?
That this motherfucker just called me a bitch. What do you think was going through my head? He's bleeding all over the fucking place. And he would have had to have over 100 stitches. Broke his nose, kicked his face in, beat the shit out of this fat motherfucker. He gets back up and says, I ain't worried about you. I'm proud of it. If he'd have been one of my bros in a fight in the joint, I'd have been proud as fuck of him. But I ain't worried about you. You ain't going to pull the trigger, bitch. What do you think went through my head? This motherfucker just called me a bitch. The act is like that, and it's over. And then what went through my head, this murder, was, oh my God, I just wasted my whole life. So I had businesses. I still had not completely wasted my life until I pulled that trigger. Then I was caught. I had a witness with me. This was not supposed to happen. There's a witness with me. Now I've got to deal with this. There's several other people that might know something. And then it went straight into fear and run. On this murder, earlier murders when I was a kid or younger, it was getting even, like it was basically, oh really, you thought you could get me, right? And then I would turn the tables on them and hurt them real bad and kill them. And it was more of a pride. This time it was fear because I had had a few good years in my life of being at least a semi-normal person, and I managed to be able to feed and take care of myself anywhere in the world. You know, and I had a good reputation and all. I had a habit with opioids, and that led to doing coke by the handful, or by the bag full, bucket full, whatever, and then back to opioids and back and forth like that. And I didn't get to really messing with meth. I tried it once, and it was my party. Too many feds were looking for me, so I had a reason to be paranoid. But you know, I'd wasted my life. That's what threw my head this time, after I had the instantaneous decision to pull the trigger. And when he spun around and hit the ground, I knew he was dead. I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. But I knew the outcome of what was coming. You know, I knew what was coming. Then it became, how do I save my life? How do I make sure, you know? And then it became selfish of me, because really and truly, killing my co-defendant was selfish, because I still ended up here the way I am. You know, so it was selfish, you know. And I justified killing her also because I saw her as just this real piece of shit of a mom, because I was like, get your kids, we'll bring them with us. And she didn't want to do that. Okay. And then I'm like, well, we'll go back to Toledo, we'll turn ourselves in. You'll do about 9 months in jail. I'll get about 9-10 years. Just stick to the story. You know what I mean? There's no robbery. And stick to the story. And she's like, no, I'm not going back to jail. And okay, you're not going back to jail. But she turned out to be a waste. But yeah, that's what was going through my head this time. As a kid, I'd be prideful and boastful. But you don't think about it, you know what I mean? You know, you think you decided it, you made a decision, and you kill them. You know, they will never hurt anyone or me or do that again. They just won't do it. That's my attitude. Any other questions?
Yeah, the next question is, have you ever come across any of the Lucasville Five guys? And if so,
I know.
Can you talk about the Lucasville Five and what the Lucasville Five are?
All right, I know every one of them very well from before Lucasville Five, before they were the Lucasville Five, before the riot. I went home in February. The riot was in April. I went out on parole in February of '93, and the riot was in April. And they got a raw deal. They literally got a raw deal because, well, two of them were, when we were all at the reformatory together. I was at the reformatory with, well, actually three of them, but two of them were at the reformatory, and all of us got wrote out for a riot at the Ohio State Reformatory. I went on the first one, and they came in the second or third one, and we went through Lima, got stuck in Lima. So they had this history. Two of the gentlemen had a history of where they pissed off the state pretty bad. You know, they were just, but nothing, the right people on the murders are not in jail. And I can be honest with you with that. The people that actually did the murders throughout the riot, they're not there. Well, maybe, and I'm not lying for anybody or anything else. There was a whole lot of fuck shit that went on in convicting those guys. That's about the most of it. And Lucasville had been through the 80s, late 80s when we first got there. We were wide open, real loose. And then a teacher got killed, and by a wigged out sex offender. Nobody knew he was a sex offender. He had weirdos. He was convicted of murder. See, that's another thing. A guy can be a sex offender, murderer, but cop out to the murder, and the sex offenders not show up, because they plead him away. Well, Eddie Vaughn kills his teacher. He was a weirdo. He killed his wife for trying to leave him, so he got infatuated with this teacher he was working with, and he killed her. And they brought in this guy named Tate, Arthur Tate, and Tate, he put these yellow lines down the hall. He tried to change everything. You couldn't eat. Prior to that, it was you had a white dining hall, a black dining hall, and a mixed area. And inmates did this. This is just the way it was. And nobody would stop you. If you had business, you had to go to the black dining hall. You went to the black dining hall. Just like you had several blacks who come to the white dining hall, would come in to get high on or whatever, and business would be taken care of. But it was just where everybody kind of migrated. Birds of a feather flocking together. The gays had their little area and stuff like that. Well, now he's got it where we had to walk out of this go to chow with the people in the cell next to us, and everything in order. And he really started just fucking with everybody, putting yellow lines everywhere and just fucking everything up like he was going to fix it. Now, this is the guy, Arthur Tate, who sold our chow halls to Airmark. Airmark Industries now runs our chow halls. prior to that, we had farms that the guys had to come to prison, and they had to get a job, or they went to the hole. You got a job and you worked. What do you do on the street?
You have 1 minute remaining.
So there was a big need for that riot, and they kind of lined up some easy to convict and got some people to say some things that they shouldn't, and lies, and they just went with them. Yeah, remember, it's how it's presented in court. The truth doesn't matter in court; it's just how it's presented. I got to call you right back, and hopefully this thing don't fuck off this time. But
Okay.
I'll call you right back.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, we got one more question. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to drop them below. We'll be going for about another hour and 10 minutes.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from
Otto. On the last thing on the Lucasville Five thing is, well, it's not just Lucasville Five right here. Like Rakeem Blackman is right here in the block with me, and he got charged out of the case. I was in the feds with a couple people that were in it and everything else. But the Lucasville Five, I have a brother, Jason. I watched him come in and join at 16. That's the saddest thing in the world, is that they basically stole this kid's life, and he didn't do jack shit other than try to negotiate. He wasn't involved in the killing they said he did. They claimed George Gates was the head of the Aryan Brotherhood, but there was no Aryan Brotherhood in Ohio at that time. You know what I mean? It hadn't come to fruition. Everybody was just cliques back then. You had Aryan nations, you had all these goofy white power cliques, and you had all these neighborhoods like Cincinnati, Priceville, had the Cincinnati Wrecking Crew. These were all white neighborhoods or white groups that I know of. The AB didn't come in until late '92, and it had not made it to Lucasville. Dave Snow brought the charter back from Arizona. I can say this. I know I was part of the original people that went down on that and got involved in all that at New Mansfield before I went home. And he brought the charter back from Arizona, so we were sanctioned under California to do this and had the rights to do this and other feds. But now they're saying George Gates. No, George Gates was just a good old guy who everybody listened to. He was like one of the older heads in the joint. The joint was run by basically older Vietnam vets at that time. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, Lucasville could get violent in a heartbeat. You know, whereas Mansfield was a lot of fist fights. OSR was a lot of fist fights and crazy shit. Lucasville was like the Mississippi River. It could get deep on you real quick. You know, but they literally, you know, they chose the people they disliked, and they decided to put them in prison and or to sink them with the charges. And then they put over 380 people in a smaller camp, they call it, and chose the best stories to take from, the ones that convicted these people the most. And most of them were lies. You know, and a lot of people got convicted of murders they didn't do and are doing it. And I know for a fact Jason didn't do anything. You know, Jason was actually out there trying to just, you know, to negotiate like he said he was. And the guys that lied on him have now all gone home, you know, and come back. One of them's gone home, come fucking back. But so we've been fighting about all that over the years, and I stand, you know, what I'm saying is don't believe the hype. Officer Villanaham was a good officer, but they drew straws. And the people that drew straws, none of them are locked up. Let me put it like that. Let's just leave it at that, you know. And next question.
So,
and I pray to God the Lucasville Five raise hell about it. Those guys, trust me, there's too many liars in that party. And I don't want to see the day they put them to sleep. You know, if it comes down to putting them to sleep, it's I guarantee what I'm going to do. I'm going to raise so much hell, it's going to be unreal. I'm getting something because it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong what they're doing to those guys. You know, they've kept them here for all these years for no reason. You know, and you just let them go to normal death row if you want. You know what I mean? And they've stolen that kid's life, man. I mean, it makes me mad because I went home several times and honestly, basically volunteered to come back because I couldn't socialize out there right. So to hear that he came in and to know, I remember the day he came in from OSR, and to know that he's never gotten out just for sticking up for us. And he's blamed for murders he didn't do, for a murder at least he didn't do, and all the other ones too. It kind of makes you mad. But anyways, I'll leave it alone. Next question.
So the next question is, what's your favorite method of murder when it comes to, you know, beating, stabbing, shooting, etc.?
I don't like shooting. Beating, it's a rage thing for me. Shooting's kind of too fast. You know what I mean? I had to throw a car away once after shooting a guy. I had a 73 Crusader, Dodge Charger Crusader issue. I had to throw it away because I shot a guy in the front seat, and didn't work out. Well, he died, but it's kind of hard to get the blood out. And I was learning about DNA at that time, so I had to get rid of the whole goddamn car. So I don't really like shooting. I like fist fighting. I like beating with whatever's handy. You know what I mean? Whatever's handy is generally what I grab. And yeah, that's my favorite. You know, that's my favorite. It's just maul a motherfucker because, you know, it's kind of fun. You know, it's hard to do in prison because, believe it or not, people snitch in prison all fucking day. That's all they do is tell. You know, they'll hurry up and tell on you, especially if you scare them. But that's my thing. Just get somebody down and just lay boot to them. Next question.
Somebody asked, what are you doing for Halloween tonight?
Masturbating. I'm going to eat a Snickers bar, watch TV, and masturbate. I'm going to watch a Buck Neely. Since you want to ask what I'm doing for Halloween, smart ass. I'm in fucking Supermax. What do you think I'm doing? I'm going to watch Buck Neely's hunting show and masturbate. I'm joking. I don't know. I'm talking to you guys. That's what the fuck I'm doing. You know? Next question. Yeah, this is Halloweenish. No, it's holidays cease to matter. You don't have anybody to share them with, and to go home and enjoy them when they cease to matter. I have a good friend in England that I would be talking to on the phone, and she keeps me smiling at least. And I'd forgotten holidays for years until recently because, like I said, I'm flying around a fucking spaceship. You know, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be basically same as any other, like, masturbating the Buck Neely hunting shows. You know, I like watching that. When he pulls the trigger, the deer falls. It just really gets me going. Fuck out of here. Next question.
So Otto, since it's Halloween, I want to ask you something about the paranormal world. You know, I've toured a lot of prisons that are supposedly haunted. Have you had any type of like paranormal experiences in there or prior to prison for that matter?
Yeah, in both. Yeah, on both. One, the house I grew up in Florida was directly next door to the church that they filmed the first Jeepers Creepers at. That church, I grew up next door to it. I lived over 3 years looking at that church, mowing that church and all that. It was basically part of my yard on 136th Avenue outside of Ocala, Florida. And there were these little kids I would hear laughing in the woods. And I mentioned it to the old lady, this old black lady lived just up the road from us, and she said, go back there to this graveyard. And she said, and they were all died in like 1943 in a house fire. And she says, those are the little kids you hear laughing out there. So that was when I was a kid. And then in prison, you know, you see shadows and you hear things, but then you don't know too if it's your own head fucking with you because you convinced somebody to commit suicide. You know what I mean? You know, like I had that happen. I thought I saw somebody walking around that I didn't know had committed suicide. And then when I killed one person, and I swear to God as my witness, and I doubt if anybody will ever fucking believe it because I don't actually, but it was about 4 inches tall, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide, and it was just this wisp of like steamy smoke, and it just wisped up and went away. Didn't fly around and hover. It came off this individual's neck, spun, and left. It was gone. It didn't fly off. It just evaporated. And I don't know what the fuck that was. And I was in a bad dope hotel, and this guy kept looking out the window at me every time I'd go outside. And I had two bodies in the bathtub. And this isn't a Louisville one. It's a long story. Never mind. But the dude kept looking out the fucking window at me. I kept seeing the shadow of this guy. So I strapped up, got my knife, and went up to knock on the door and introduce myself to him because I'm paranoid at this point in time, trying to figure out how to get these people out of this fucking bathtub. And nobody was in the room. And as soon as I got back to my room, the desk clerk called and said, you saw somebody looking out the window. And I said, yeah. He said, that's somebody that committed suicide in that room. He says, dark shadow. I said, yeah. I said, the motherfucker keeps looking at me every time I come out the door. He said, nah. It's at the Louisville Manor. And so those are the only things I can call paranormal or whatever. And I'm not sure, the ones in the joint, if they're due to, I don't get scared anymore. Let's put it that way. I kind of don't have a reason to be scared of dying, so I don't know if that psychologically has an effect on me or not. I think poltergeist, because they all happen around these young women, I think maybe that might be a lot of manifestation of the human mind. I know the human mind is far more powerful than we think, but I do believe there's spirits. I'm not real sure about ghosts. I think maybe there might be a way to electronically record what's happened in these cells and in these places, but I cannot see a person choosing to haunt one of these prisons. And I'm in a prison where people commit suicide 2, 3, 4 times a year. It's a lot of people do because of solitary confinement. It's pretty rough. You know what I mean? On their mind. If you don't watch yourself, you'll lose your fucking mind. And I think everybody loses their mind, even the ones that don't think they have. I know I'm not here to fruitcake. But anyways, next question.
Do you have any interesting stories about any other high-profile prisoners in Ohio? I know you've already mentioned a few, the Lucasville Five and a couple others.
Yeah, well, one of my best friends is Doc Issa, dumbass fucking. He gave his wife cyanide and vitamins, and then gave the vitamin bottles to the police. What a genius! He's a very good guy. He is not a criminal. He's not a murderer. Although he committed a murder, I wouldn't. Yeah, he just consciously committed the act. I know a lot of guys that are supposed to be murderers, but they're really not. They're just killers. And there's a vast difference between killing and murder. Killing is where somebody dies and you actually never thought about killing them. It just happened, due to the fact that the killing. Murder is where you say, okay, you're dead. And there's very few people in prison on the you're dead issue where somebody murdered them. I know a couple guys on death row that are not murderers, that just killers. Like one guy shot some worker at a Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it wasn't an intentional thing or a thought out thing, So it's actually the intent. We've removed intent in order for cops to feel like their job actually is as fun as a TV show, And so they remove intent and they come at you with a higher charge, trying to get you to cop to a lower charge or what it is instead of charging with what it is. But other high profile murderers. I was in the feds with the guy that snatched up Elizabeth Smart in Utah, although he didn't kill her.
Brian David Mitchell?
The guy, the older guy, and he's the nicest fucking guy in the world, man. He did not snatch that girl. He explained it to me that she left on her own. But of course, that's to be the victim is important, and I'm sure that he must have convinced her. There's a lot of ways to steal a person or to kidnap a person, I guess. And he didn't use physical violence, anyways. This dude. I wish to God he would. Come on, man. Have you seen this dude? There's no way he could physically. I don't think he could pick up 100 pounds. He's just very meek. So I don't know, but he was there. I've known a lot of. I knew some older guys that are all dead now that were serious murderers. Cleo Keaton, he was serious about it. Armed robbery, kill you in a heartbeat. There's some guys that died on death row. Different people. Danny Lee that just got killed in the feds. just got put to sleep in the feds. Yeah, I knew him. And Dozer out in Nevada who hung himself. He was from Arizona, but he was out in Nevada. He's a good friend of mine when I was in Nevada out there, and we talked almost every day. And but I guess what other people would see as really interesting murderers, they're just somebody, you know what I mean? Because it's, I don't know, I don't see him as the high up the food chain. I guess other people would, or as a threat at all. You know what I mean? So I know I'm not amazed. I'm not amused. Yeah, that'd be the way. I'm not amused by a lot of other people's cases because I've become bored with it. I know murder is such an easy thing to do, and actually, it's more cowardly to murder somebody.
You have 1 minute remaining.
The easier thing to do, you know. So I'm going to call y'all right back. I'm just going to go off because I hate this fucking. I like it. I like having the phone in my cell. So it's better than it used to be. We got a phone call them off. Okay, call you right back.
All right, sounds good. I'll be waiting.
Good, I'll be waiting.
Thank you for.
All right. Hopefully everybody's enjoying this. I wanted to do something different and switch it up for Halloween. And in the near future, I will be doing more live Q&As because it seems that people are into it and there's more engagement than I thought there would. We've got about 50 minutes left, so if anybody has any other questions, feel free to type them through the chat.
Hello. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Okay, so backing up a little bit, the next question is, how did you get rid of the bodies that were in the bathtub?
I put them in the trunk of the dope dealer's car. There were two drug boys, two dope dealers, and just drove off with them. This is just boldly walked out the door, went out, backed the car up, put the suitcase in first, the night watch or night desk clerk. If they did look, they'd see me loading the car. It was a weird motel. It had 30 porn channels and a sex shop on the front of it. It was a nice hotel. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't run down or anything. It was just a weird place. And they were real particular about what happened in the parking lot. So I went out, turned the guy's car around, and backed it up. He had like an 86 Monty. And I backed it up and opened the trunk up. First threw my duffel bag in, and the next load I just grabbed dude by his waist and folded. And he literally he's no rigor mortis yet. He wasn't stiff yet. Tossed him in the trunk, carried him out half over, half hidden on the far side of my body, and tossed him in the trunk. And then I got the other one the same way. And that's about as far as I'm going to go on a phone call. Where we went, what way on the Gene Snyder Parkway I went, or anything else, we don't need to talk about. That's just how it goes. He came in to serve me some dope, and the first one, and he had an attitude. He had a bit of an attitude, like I was. And that's one of my. Dope dealers are my favorite to get because they always want to act like they're some big bad hard ass, but they're not generally. And they want to act like they are, and that you're a dope fiend. So because you're a dope fiend, they're King Kong. So it's really easy to flip the tables on. That's what I did, and that was that.
So Otto, the prison that you're in now, what percentage of the population do you believe to be mentally ill? That's the next question.
Mentally ill population here. What percentage? The gentleman's in the room with me right now, a good friend. 75%. Yeah, more than that, really. Even the ones that you have to understand that 90 at least. Yeah, there's all kinds of illnesses. See, you have to understand that very few of us, they don't have enough maximum security inmates to fill these cells. So all of a sudden now, you've got guys. These cells were built for guys that are stabbing and beating each other and hurting each other, but now they're full of 90% full of guys that are just that are here for little things. Like, I mean, there's 30 or 40 guys on the floor I'm on right now that have masturbated, are here for masturbation. How do you get caught masturbating so much that you go from medium security to maximum security? How do you do this? You know, but it's by a point system. The more tickets you get, the more points you get. It's not like these guys are violent, but then they get here and they give you a free TV if you can't afford a TV because the feds told them they have to because it's mentally torture to be in that cell without anything. So now that you've got guys that are scared to be in prison, who run up here, do something, to get sent up here, run and jump on a fence and hang on it, shake the fence, and claim they're trying to escape, and then they get stuck up here for 10 years. You know, and now they have no selling, nobody can rape them or anything else. They believe all these stories. Not that anybody's going to rape them anyways. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of to it, but there's a lot of mental illness here. A lot of it, and they're not addressing it at all. They do not address it at all. One, they're understaffed, and two, the staff they've got can give a flying fuck less. And I say that with all honesty. They could care less. You know, because they have to weed through all these guys that they're playing games and everything else. You know. So.
Do you have any diagnosed mental illnesses?
They say I'm bipolar, but manic depressive. I see it, but I don't. You know, I see it. You know, I get real angry when I'm off my meds. If I don't take my meds, I'm real angry. But then in a couple weeks, I'm hyper. The meds keep me down, and their effects are supposed to keep you up, but they make me more calm, and I can write and stuff like that. But if I'm off of my mind, it just speeds at 1,000 miles an hour. It's back. Here comes the fucking med doctor. Here, let's see what he's getting. Give my goddamn med. Yeah, the nurse is here right now. This big black guy, man. Every bit as big as Ali used to be. Yeah. All the guys. I got to be out here and I got a big black guy to look at. Why can't I get a pretty girl? You know?
So Otto,
anyway.
the next question is, did you find killing thrilling every time that you found yourself killing somebody?
Yeah, but it's never as thrilling as reliving it. It's always thrilling when you relive it, and the sting gets taken out of it. The thrill kind of gets taken out of that once you give it away and tell other people about it. I think it's because you can do it better in your head. It's never as good as it is in your head. You know, you were always too fast, or you didn't take your time. You know, you could have done this. You know what I mean? Why didn't I make this motherfucker? You know, I'm calling the nurse. Why didn't I make this motherfucker do this or make him do that? You know, why didn't I do this? Hang on 1 minute, I gotta grab this medicine. I don't need no water, just hand it here. All right. Yeah, they're about to give me my meds. So, see, you guys get to be here with me. Woohoo!
So Otto, backing up a little bit to the BB gun incident, somebody asked what satisfaction was derived shooting at people with a BB gun from a rooftop.
Man, I will be so glad when they give us medical marijuana. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'll be glad when they give us medical marijuana. It'll never happen. But yeah, I noticed the difference once they put me on these meds a few years ago. And the guys around me are the ones that warn me they know when I'm not taking them. They say I get real goofy or real quick to, ignite. So, so I guess there is something to it, There is a
right.
mental aspect to me too. And ask whoever asked that if they got any mental problems. Yeah.
So Otto, what satisfaction did you get from shooting at people with a BB gun from a rooftop?
Oh, now, is this John or Bill?
The first name is Lizzie.
Lizzie, somebody from around the shop. But I figured it would be John. I got a blast out of it because I told them, idiots. All right, look, my tattoo shop happened to be right beside a party store, the biggest party store on the east side. These guys that were out there panhandling we shared the same parking lot, so normal women and people would come up, and these dudes would invade their space, bombing money from. Well, they were drug addicts. They live around the corner. They have a house. They're not homeless. They get a disability check and everything else. They use blood. They're panhandling as dope addicts, and they're acting like they need gas for a car and everything else. And how they would get the money is they would invade these women's space. Well, that my business depends on these people being able to get out of their fucking car without these idiots. So I beat up a few of them and went to jail a couple times for doing that. Because it is assault to go out and smack somebody off the parking lot. And then it turned into, I realized I could climb up on the roof and take this BB gun and shoot their 40 ounce. They would hustle up the money to get a 40 ounce, and I'd shoot the bottom of it. And if that didn't hit the bottom of it, I might shoot them. It was a little fun. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do that. They should try it.
The person that asked that question, actually, they said their name was Faith.
Faith Garcia? Hey, baby, what's up? How you doing? Hey, are they live on camera? If they are, she likes to fall out of her chair and show something to people.
No, they're not on camera. They're just in a chat room of sorts.
Elizabeth, that's my baby, man. That's my buddy. But anyways, what she wants me to tell you about is making the guy had a heart attack with the BB gun. That's what she wants me to tell you about. Dirty woman. Why would you do that to me? That's what she wants me to talk about. She wants me. I used to shoot this guy all the time, and because he was a weirdo, sex offender type, and he kept going in the women's bathroom in the place next door, the restaurant next door, and I could not beat up anybody else. The cops were pretty much on me for being a prick to homeless people and dumbass. They call them homeless, although they weren't. These fucking bums. And so when I catch him sitting on the park bench, on the bus bench across from my shop, and he'd always have these sweats on, he'd get a hard on, I'd blast him. And that's what she's talking about. Well, one day he fell over. He'd had a heart attack. And the fire department came. He was like a 28-year-old guy, fell over and had a fucking heart attack. He was really bad. I mean, he was, but that was his thing. And so I was trying a little, I don't know what you call it, negative reinforcement. I'd shoot him in his fucking balls every time pop a little tent in his pants, looking at the women getting on off the bus. I'd blast him. Get the fuck out of here. Now, if the law hadn't been in the way, and if people would not have noticed this dude coming up missing, that's what would have happened. He'd have turned up missing. They'd have found him face down the Maumee River. But he wasn't dumb enough to come within my grasp like that. And people like to laugh about it. And friends, I get a lot of friends that tend to, I can't believe you're like that. But no, they all knew it. They all knew that I was the one to call if anything went wrong. If you wanted something, if somebody was giving you a problem, I was the one to call. Bar none, I love that shit. And for me, it's a mental challenge due to I can't believe I allowed myself to be abused the way I was. So it became a mental challenge, to attack and go, And Faith never called me like she was always a good friend, but at the same time, I guarantee she knew that if anybody ever messed with her, she'd called me, I'd have been there. So yeah, I was a little twerp shooting people, big deal. They had it coming, just quit. I hated that shit. The owner of the party store was in his 80s, and he couldn't do it. And had I been able to trick any one of them into a nice blind alley, then I wouldn't have been shooting people off the roof. I'd have put them in the dumpster. So simple. It would have been better to do that, but I was trying a little negative reinforcement. You get shot with a BB gun sitting in a parking lot, panhandling enough times, you take off. So, yeah, that's what Faith was me. I think that's more what Faith wanted. Because I called her scared to death one day. Some dude had a heart attack. I'm like, oh my God, this guy just had a heart attack. I didn't even get to shoot him that day, but he fell over a heart attack. And that's a true story. Actually happened. But anyways, any other questions? Elizabeth, I didn't even think that she'd use that name.
Yeah. So
any other questions?
So when it comes to killing, the $1 million question everybody always wants to know is, what is it that drives people to kill, in cold blood like you did yourself? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I can't say for everybody, but for me it was I think I'm deeply psychologically affected. I had 6 sisters, total of 6 sisters. I was real protective of them. I gave them school and everything. So for me to realize that I was as strong as I was, but I was allowing somebody to just dog walk me. I mean, pour boiling water on top of your feet just so it'll scab, and you have to walk and work in it every day. And you have no idea. If you ever want to hurt somebody, that's the easiest way. Just pour some hot water, just right on top of their foot, just a little bit. It ain't bad right then. It stings. It's the next few weeks, it'll kill you. And I went through all this shit from this fucking coward-ass motherfucker. And he wouldn't even fight me when the time came. And had he fought me, I might have been different. But for me, I was satisfying these urges that I wasn't a bitch, that I wasn't a punk. You know what I mean? My natural instinct is to be the nicest guy in the world, to give you a shirt off my back. I don't like I told you, I don't like Christian Longo because he thought he was a con man. I don't like being con. You know what I mean? And that's some of that supernatural shit there, too, if you really want to talk about it. When he comes in my shop and the voice in my heart's telling me to kill this dude, and I let him go, and he goes on and kills his kids. And, you know, to me, there's some lines there. There's some lines there. How is it I instantly disliked this guy and wanted to...
You have 1 minute remaining.
Call back. But yeah, that's for me it was a sense of satisfaction, a sense of self-proof that I'm not a bitch, that you didn't take advantage of me. You know what I mean? That you're not above me, that you didn't take advantage of me. That's for me, that's what it was. For other people, I can't tell you what they got out of it. You know, I proved I could climb that mountain, but I wouldn't cry when old Yeller got shot. That's what the fuck I proved. I proved I could kill the horse, the foal, the twin. I could kill it, put it to sleep. You know, I proved I was every good man as all these fucking Vietnam vets, these other dickheads I worked on farms and orange groves with. I proved I was tougher than all of them. And now I'm suffering for it. My grandkids are suffering. I don't want them to like me. All right, I'll call y'all back.
All right.
Thank you for using GTL.
All right, we got about 30 minutes left, so if you guys want to get some more questions in, feel free to type them in the chat. Is he mad or bad? Probably a little bit of both.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from
Otto Smith. I can finish that question up real simple. I didn't go to school. My mother just simply, she was truly depressed. Did not allow us to go to school. She was always paranoid and everything else. She also didn't teach us. I got embarrassed one time where somebody said I was illiterate. And I devoured every nonfiction book I could read after that. And I make sure that I'm not illiterate because I don't, you know what I mean? So it's the same sense of gratification I get. Knowing, I know about things I shouldn't know about because I read about everything. And it all stems from the fact that I'm trying to overcome the little boy that left my parents, that left my family. He was fucked up. He would allow people to beat him. He would go to work and hand him all his money. He would kill people in orange groves and then bring the money home. He would do whatever his mom or parents said. He was going to be a great preacher, and the only book he ever read was the Bible. He couldn't read or write. All it took was one girl quizzing me to see if I was illiterate or not, and I proved it, and I made sure I wasn't illiterate anymore. And same with the murders or violence. If you underestimate me, if you ask me for something, you can have it. I'll give it to you. Give your shirt off my back. But if you underestimate me and you try to con me or trick me, I'll fuck your fucking world up. This is simple. That's what I get out of it, because I know I'm not that little boy I was. That's the problem in the world. Everybody wants to save these kids from child abuse, but when you pull them out, how do you tell a 17-year-old he needs mental health? 17-year-old that just wants girls to like him, you know? How do you tell? This is the only reason I'm out here talking about this shit. My family cuts me off because they don't want me talking about this stuff. Faith is one of them. This Elizabeth is one of them. She's a great friend, a beautiful person, but she's cut me off too because I'm too bold and boisterous with it. And they don't understand why. And why is I've accepted that I cannot. The only good I can make out of any violence or any murders or any of the dumb shit I ever did is to explain to people why it happened. When you pull these kids out of abusive homes, you have to get them help. You can't baby it. You can't listen to them and say, oh, I'm all right. They're not all right. We're broken. We were like little computers and somebody put the wrong fucking code in. You know, I sat in a horse farm for those 2.5 years. My only friends, my parents wouldn't let me leave the horse farm. The rest of the family would go to town. They'd take my paycheck, go to town, do whatever the fuck they wanted. I didn't care. I had these horses. But they wouldn't take me to town because they thought I was being wanted for this murder in Florida, or murder down in the orange groves. They didn't want me to be recognized, whatever. Plus, it was, it wasn't his son. But the horses talk with their faces. So I learned to watch their faces and read their faces. And all of a sudden, that translates to people. And then tones of voices. I'll hear the wrong tone of voice, or I'll see the wrong look on a person's face in a confrontation. That motherfucker's going in the trunk of a car. And they won't understand why I'm coming at them like that. And the reason is because of how I was raised, how I was programmed. They might just want to argue. This idiot have no clue that he's pushing my buttons, and I hear it in his voice. It's just an argument. He's trying to be assertive. I'll see a look across his face, and I got you, motherfucker. And they won't even know it. They won't understand, and then they're looking at me like, what the hell? Why'd you do that? Why'd you just hit me with that tire iron? Well, I saw the way your facial looks and stuff like that. The way I was programmed as a child, as this empty computer, there it is. You know what I mean? That's why I'm just, there it is. And it's, if you guys see these kids being abused, you got to get them help. You got to. Or you deal with people like me. And hey, I'm the rarity. You don't got to deal with me. You know what kind of how you create a person that would leave somebody's 80-year-old grandma sitting in her shitty diapers all stroked out in a nursing home, maybe smack her, steal her jewelry? Those are the ones you got to worry about. Because 90% of the child abuse, but 99% of them don't end up like me. 99% of them end up working in these menial fucking jobs. And if you wonder how somebody could be mean to an old person or a little baby, there they are. They're finally in an assertive position above somebody they can dominate. All kinds of shit will come bubbling to the surface. As soon as that happens, man, all kinds of shit comes bubbling to the surface. My thing is, I don't feel I'm dominant over no old people or mentally handicapped or anybody else. I like to dominate fighters. I like to dominate motherfuckers that need their ass beat. I thrive off of it. I like to get punched in the mouth. That's that foreplay. I don't give a fuck. I will get you, and that's what's scary, and it stems from the way I was raised. It's definitely from the way I was raised, and the fact that the horse farms put animals to sleep, having to with thoroughbreds, what most of you people don't know is that you've got to, if a twin's born, you have to kill the smaller twin. You can't register it. If you're registered, it ruins the bloodline, it lowers everything. You want to get rid of all twins. You ever pull two foals, pull a set of twins, and then because you're the guy that pulled them the night watchman says you got to kill the young little one. You don't call the vet. There's no vet to call. You've got to kill this little bitty baby foal. So I think putting animals down had a lot to do, and it affected my brain with the way the first murder I committed as a kid, and it helped me become who I am. And that's how I see it. If I decide you need to be put to sleep, I'm going to put your fucking ass to sleep. But I never did to people I love or people near me, and that's because I'm supposed to be the feeder, the provider, and the protector of my family. And I'll accept my family fucking me over left and right, and never hurt them. But somebody else come along and think they can do it. Yeah, all right. We'll see how far this is going to get you. Like Faith could run me over with a fucking car. You know, she could do whatever the fuck she wanted. I mean, she's my buddy. She's been my friend for years. The same with my kids or anybody else. And I would accept it. And you, Andy, you're in that loop, Andy. You're kind of in that loop, and you know, you're in that loop. Anybody I love, they can do whatever they want to. But an outsider, suck my dick to that fucking mom taste. Excuse my French. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the abuse. And first and foremost, when you would get ready to kill somebody, was there something that would trigger you, like, you know, stemming back to your childhood, or would it just be like a random
Yeah, my
fit of
bitchin'
rage?
ass ex-wife. Yeah, my bitchin' ass ex-wife there for a while. Yeah, I put somebody in the river about her a couple times, but that's not a question. That's another story. Yeah. All right, look. My mother was sold. My dad died. My dad came from actually a good family in Louisiana, and relatives lived along, so social power, a little bit of social power, whatever. He's a decent, upstanding family, and he was a lot older than my mom. My mom came from a more poor family, single mom, poor family, and he married her when she was young, but he was a pretty well-known preacher, so she got used to this, and she milked the victim. Milked my father's death. He died in a private plane crash when I was 4 days old, and he had a little bit of money, but she milked this for every penny it was worth for sympathy for people. That he died and left her with this 2-year-old daughter and this son, this newborn son. But she didn't stop milking it with outsiders. She milked it with us, with me, and you know, I had to feel sorry because she was in the hospital when my dad died, giving birth to me. You know, instead of with my dad or whatever. I don't know. It's really weird. She, you know, and it was a big price to pay. She came through her own set of problems. So coming home, a failure, not working long enough, not working hard enough, not picking enough oranges, always letting her down. That was her way. I was never honored or treated like I was a great kid because I sacrificed my education, everything else, take care of my sister's stuff. There was always something more I could be doing. And I think that was so she wouldn't have to go buy sweets or candy bars or give me an extra or like any kind of reward for the work I was doing. You know what I mean? It was just her way of always, I was always in trouble, always letting her down. And I tended, and I don't blame my ex-wife for this, but she fit that bill. She would bitch and moan about me smoking or the way I talked when I needed her at the shops running and doing business work and paperwork. But at the same time that I didn't need her, and I know my life would have been better had she not gone through her own depressions and bought into everything and supported me and pushed me. I did pick her because I couldn't make her happy. And it reminded me of the same thing with my mom. It was that same. So I would let it build up, keep doing right. That's the key. Going to work every day. I mean, who's old lady bitches that their old man just worked yesterday for 20 hours, but he made $3,800? You know what I mean? My wife, she would bitch. You know what I mean? She would have much rather me come home and come home and had an 8-hour day job than what I was doing. And I took advantage of the job. I purposely stayed out of the way. I purposely kept smoking. So I can't say I cultivated that. Let me put it that way. I didn't take time to stop and think that I was doing it and why I was doing it. But that's what I needed. And if she would get on me enough, like she got on me about going to AA, and instead of explaining to her my need of it and everything that I got out of it, as I kept building up on me till 6 o'clock one morning, I put some motherfucker in the Maumee River. You know what I mean? Took him down there and held us out underneath the water and floated him on down the way. Dumbass. I went back, smoked a cigarette, and laughed. That's what I got out of it. And that was reliving it. Essentially, now I understand. I was reliving the Orange Grove killing. That's the same thing happened in the Orange Grove. You know, my mom said, "Go back and get that money." I went back and got that money and killed the guy. And at 13, going on 14, and made sure the lightweight was nice to me about it for a few weeks, and then they got scared, and that led to some really weirdo abuse, and that's what makes me feel the worst. I let them tie me up and crap because they were scared of me. I didn't realize they were scared of me. You know what I mean? But then again, if you realize your 13-year-old son will hit you in the head with a hook, and kill you, then I guess you would be scared. I don't know. But yeah, but that's why. That was the emotional reason, and that's what would set me off. Or I'd see you doing it to somebody else. And being abusive to somebody weaker than you. That was a big thing for me. If you're abusive to somebody weaker than you, I'm weaker than you. I'll check you about it. And if you don't read, most of them read the signs, but if you don't read what's coming, you're going to get your ass hurt. If not hurt, if hurt leads to dead, I don't care. That's the attitude. That's the attitude. If hurt leads to dead, who gives a fuck? I will get rid of you. Hopefully nobody's around to watch. Now, I had to stop. Like I said, I had to slow down because I learned with the bar killing that witnesses ain't no good. Witnesses are no good. So, anyways, any other questions?
Yeah, can you talk about some of the trauma that you have been holding in that we've talked about in the past?
Well, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. Now, everybody's going to say it's not your fault. It's the way they made you. You forgive yourself. All that fucking happy horse shit. Well, that just gains me sympathy when I talk about beatings and crap like that. I don't need your sympathy. I need you to see people out there. And I'll go into things. It's just a progression when I'm trying to lay it out. I need you motherfuckers, excuse my French, I'm not calling you motherfuckers anyway, but this is just life in prison. I need you to see, if you see a kid being raised in a bad way, man, step the fuck to the plate and fix it. Or shut the fuck up when they kill somebody in your family later in life. Either step up and fix or shut up. It's that simple. These kids need it. I don't need your sympathy. Those kids will. They don't need you to make calls. Make caseworkers do their fucking job. Get these kids help. Or they're going to end up like me. I had, like I said, one of my stepfather's favorite, and I got scars to show, just pour hot coffee on my feet.
You have 1 minute remaining.
That's weeks of intensity. You cannot believe the pain that is over the weeks, because you got to go to work. You got to get up and mow. You got to work. You're working on a horse farm. You got to go. And your feet, that skin cracks and breaks and bleeds. And suddenly what should be just a small blister turns into this big ass fucking nasty. And beatings, belt buckles. I'll call you right back. I'll go into some of the more extreme shit, as well as food. Forced sleep in garages when I was really young, stuff like that, away from the family. Throw cold water. That was their favorite way away from me. That's not something you want to do. That's a lot. It became a game when we were in Atlanta to them. My mom was going through a lot, and it became her toy. I'll call you right back.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you for using GTL.
All right, we got about 2 more phone calls that we'll get in.
This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Hey, do you guys remember that bathroom cleaning stuff they called soft scrub? Back in the day, this came in this bottle. It was just common in goddamn liquid form. Well, my mom was a clean freak. She was, we'd have to get up and clean the whole house, top to bottom. Depending on the mood she was in, when she'd wake up out of these depressions, we'd have to clean everything in the house, including the light bulbs. Well, there was a rag under the sink upstairs, in the upstairs bathroom, which was the bathroom next to my room. And at this time in the house, on the horse farm beside the church where Jeepers Creepers used to be. And I don't know why that matters to me. But why the fuck they made that? I should have burned the place down when I had a chance. But anyways, the rags, the soft scrub, if you ever rinse the rags are dry stiff. So I come in from work. I was working a regular job on the horse farm. I was making $150 a week. I brought home to her. And I was working extra. I was pulling peanuts, lugging watermelons, whatever extra I could do on the weekends. Well, it was one day off. I got a week sometimes. I make it the roof and stuff, whatever. I was always working. And I came in, and they got this fucking rag, man, and they're like, she's standing there, just sitting there in their little throne or chair, her favorite chair. My stepdad was looking down. He knew what the fuck. There was no cum on this fucking rag, right? My sister's looking, my older sister looking at me like I was a villain. And they got some idea that I jacked off and this rag was stiff and hanging up underneath the sink because I've been jacking off on it. And they, I don't like to talk about it, but because I held my dick. They literally made me expose myself and hold it out. Why she beat it with a literal wooden mallet. You know, and that's because I had supposedly been masturbating in the bathroom and hanging up the rag underneath the sink, and that was a total lie. I masturbated at the barn because there was Lee Mornos was working at the farm at the time, and I used to watch her sunbathe, her little country face ass sunbathe. So I was going to masturbate up there. I didn't masturbate at the house. I had 6 sisters around, and I was deeply religious. So that's give you an idea of some child abuse. There's your little child abuse. Belt buckles, taking chunks out of your butt, back, and legs. Yeah, that's normal. Big deal. Beat with a horse shank several times. Stomped because a cat scared a horse my stepdad was carrying. It was one of my mom's cats. Punched, stabbed, whatever. My mom was pretty good at being off the hook, and it was always bloody and violent. And more than once, I've got a lot of scars on top of my head. And they came from getting hit in the head, you know, with whatever was handy. So yeah, and always being in trouble. Never ever was I a good kid, even though I was doing the best I could. And honestly, and it leads to you becoming bad. And when it did start to go bad, my stepfather, it was beneficial to my stepfather because my mom, being as ill as mentally as she was collected animals. I mean, we might have 22 dogs at the same time. We had 100 chickens, 10 ducks, 2 turkeys, 15 guinea pigs. I can just keep living on. You know what I mean? And then this one time, and so when my stepdad, he kind of promoted me clearing out that after the cat. I took out all the cats because the cat got me beat up. I took out all the cats. Well, I had like 40 cats, man, and they had to go. You know, they were scaring the horses and shit like that. And I'm not happy about what I did to the smaller animals. And my stepdad promoted that because he didn't like having them all either. He was getting in trouble with the police people who actually owned the house. But I remember one time my mom was a con woman, more or less. She would make these promises to pay people. She got all these ceramics, and she put them in my bedroom. They took my bedroom. She put them in my bedroom, and a corn snake, a hog-nosed corn snake, came out of one of the molds, one of these ceramic molds. And her and my sister thought it was a rattlesnake. They taped it to all fucking house in the room. And I go in and I get it. And I get the snake. Go in there, it's a rattlesnake. It's a rattlesnake. It's not a fucking rattlesnake. I go in there and get it. It's a fucking corn snake. It's a hog-nosed snake. Kill it, bring it out. And then I was blamed. Then somehow in her mind she gets this idea that I was trying to kill her. But I put a rattlesnake. It was not a rattlesnake. You know, she's like, it's a rattlesnake. No, it's not. It's a fucking hog-nosed. You know, it's a fucking goddamn rat snake, you know. But where the mold's been sitting outside. And yeah, I mean, the food, very little food. My mom would raise these chickens, try to sell the chicken eggs, and I'm working, I couldn't eat any of them. I could eat the guinea eggs, but I couldn't eat any of the chicken eggs, and she might have 40 dozen sitting on the counter because she had 100 chickens, and there were 3 houses on the road we lived on. Somebody bought fucking eggs, you know? Now I look back and I see it, you know what I mean? She was nuts. She's not even fucking fruit. But any other abuse stories you want?
So there's another question in here in which somebody asked, so was it society's fault? And I'm assuming they mean when it comes to the child abuse and or murders that you've committed.
What did they say? What was the question again? I could barely understand it.
So is it so after listening to you, is it society's fault?
No. Society's not at fault. No. No. Is it my fault? Idiots are out there calling themselves he, hey, them, me, I. 52 different fucking genders now. I had nothing to do with that. So it's not society's fault that I got beaten or hurt. Nobody stepped in. I'm just trying to tell you. Okay, look, in the 80s, early 80s, the old timers that watched me go to work, going through the shit I went through, had all survived the Depression. So you were a good kid if you quit school and 12, 13 years old and went to work and fed your family. You know what I mean? Listen, man, if you see some weirdo shit with kids, that's all I'm saying. You know, help them. It's nobody's fault. It's not your fault what's happened to me. It's nobody's fault what happened to me. My mother was badly ill, and we've got some generational effects that have gone on. My stepfather was arch friggin' coward and mentally ill. I had to be to put up with as long as he did, and you know they built a perfect beast. I mean, within a reason, they built a beast. And when I was given an opportunity to correct it. Something happened and I didn't get to, you know, and this is why I'm telling my story, because I don't want to see my grandkids grow up and take any pride in me. If you want to take pride in my tattoo shops and stuff like that, fine. But we live in such a world now where a person can murder somebody. You know, my daughter won't talk to me now because she's scared this shit will be genetic. You know, and she acts just like her grandmother does, so it's not going to be genetic. She acts nothing like me. You know what I mean? And it's not genetic. Nobody beat her. I've never put my hands on her, never hurt her or nothing, but she'll swear to God to people that she's scared of me. But I'm the same dad she's always had. And this hurts. I don't get to be with my grandkids or anything else. Mainly because I'm talking. Because I'm trying to tell the world, you know, kids are empty computers, man. And if you see somebody programming them wrong, fix it, man. Don't be scared. 9 times out of 10, the person that's abusing them is a coward. You know what I mean? All it takes is you getting in their ass. You know? And that's all I'm saying, but no, it's not society's fault. Any other questions? Yes, I am the best looking guy in captivity. I do agree. Next question.
So there's some questions in the chat that people keep wanting me to address. I'm assuming this is somebody from your life. The first question was, what kind of father asked their son to send them drugs in prison? Do you know what they're talking about?
Yeah, and I didn't ask you or Faith to send me fucking drugs in prison. I asked you to send them to the clerk of court, you idiot. Then the only reason you're bitching and moaning, Robert Ray, Fat Boy McFarland, like my little son, is because you took Doc's money. And you're trying to pretend and be the victim. No, you're a weasel. You're a little weasel. I love you to death, and you keep making more out of this than was. What I asked you to do was to look it up and to send it to the clerk of court. It's not illegal to send it to the clerk of courts. Then the clerk of courts will send it to me. Okay? Now, Robert Ray McFarland, 320-pound wannabe. All you do is, God, man. And why I'm mad at you the worst, Robert, is you know what you did, and you're part of all your sisters. That's my goofball ass son. You know, who I wish to God wasn't. He's you know, I love him to death. He's smart, but he's just stupid and lazy. And like he's doing now, he's trying to play the victim. But his grandparents taught him that. He's always played the victim. Tell the truth. If you're going to tell the truth, Robert, what? You know me, I'll tell the fucking truth. You just didn't want your girlfriend to know that Doc sent $250 to your house, and you took it. You want to play Kathy like you didn't take that money. You took that fucking money and didn't spend it on her or the kids. I know what the fuck your little weasel ass did. You know, and I don't care. Hell, I'm mad if you'd have told me we'd have got Doc for $2,500 instead of $250. Fucking kid of mine steals $250. Fuck. You can't rent a hooker for $250 and have a good time, get a happy ending. What the fuck are you doing, man? You know? That's what happened. he agreed to look some stuff up on the internet about K2. I'll just put it out there. I don't give a fuck. But look some stuff up on the internet about K2. I never asked him to send it to me. You know, I told him I had an idea of how to do it, where it could be sent in, where it's not illegal for anybody to do. And I was going to get into it there because it happens to be notebook-sized piece of paper in here right now is going for about $3,000. And I like to make money. And that was a lot of money. And Doc, a friend of mine, was willing to pony up the money. He's the one that gave me the idea. And my kid took $250, like a little fucking lazy weasel, and didn't want to tell his girl he did. And then made it makes out like I'm a bad guy. And that's the reason. That's the only reason he posted that right there. That's the only reason. You know. And he post something else, genius. You know. I'll tell. I have nothing to hide. I don't care about the cops. What are you going to do with me? Put me in the hole? Oh no, not that. Huh. I'll be locked in my cell all day. Gee, that's what happens every day. You know. So, anyways, I'm sorry I got mad, but no, that was my little genius son trying to, you know. Why don't you tell him about the 6 times I had to bust your ass for lying? Yeah, why don't you go down that road?
So, Otto.
Because you know it's a lot. Yeah.
So, Otto, is there anything that you want the public to know about you, whether that be positive or negative?
Yeah, I'd like for him to read whatever the books that I've got out on Amazon. And give me feedback. Tell me where I'm wrong. Give me feedback. They're books that are hopefully they're novels about child abuse victims trying to navigate the world. The first one has a lot to do with my mom's grave, actually, and then a character in there has to deal with the fact that his mom's grave has no headstone. And my mom's grave has a headstone, but it's not by me. So it gave me a nexus to write a story from and to think it out and to think about how my kids look at me and to think about how wrong I was and what I could have done different. And it's there's some reality to the book. Some of those parts of it are real, or things I've done in my life. But read what I write. It's on. Just punch in E. Otto Smith or Ernest Otto Smith on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or anywhere, and you'll find them. Give me some feedback. I'm writing another one right now about to put it out in a couple weeks, and I'm trying to do something positive and not for myself. I don't care about money. You know, if you want to write, I don't care about money. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care about making a positive influence. Look, you guys think prison is saving you. Prison does not help people. You know, there's a lot of people in here that don't need to be. This new era thing where most are innocent, that's pretty much a lie. But most are in here on the wrong charges, a lot of them. But no, I'm trying to make something positive out of all right, look, I'll put it this way. My co-defendant, Kathy Barnett's daughter, got pregnant essentially while they were out looking for me and their mom. And then the kid was born, and one of the kid's aunts.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, one of the kid's aunts nearly beats it to death. And so I thought I was killing Kathy Barnett because she was a bad mother. At least that was an excuse to get myself. But then I set this poor baby's life on a path to be born and then beaten. I caused that kid to get beaten, essentially. If you really want to look back, if you want to follow it back, I set everything in motion. I'm gonna call you all right back.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? I'm about to end this live as soon as Otto calls back. I'll ask him one more question and we'll get out of here. Kidnapping question. Where? Okay, now I see it. We'll end with that.
Hello. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Wow, this has gone on pretty good time. No, that would be about it. I don't just read and correct me where I'm wrong. Argue with me if you think I'm wrong. I'm sure I am. I'm seeing things through my eyes. I can't see it through everybody's. And help me work it out. I'm incredibly honest, and I'll say one more thing about my goofy ass fat kid. He's living in a trailer. He lives on $700 a month, and I love him to death. And when I'm calling every week and you need money, and I'm in a world full of suckers that are going to pay for roach spray on a piece of paper, $3,000 for roach spray on a piece of paper, I'm going to figure out how to legally get it here. And I'm going to sell it. I'm going to give you the money. I don't need the money. And you knew that. So it's kind of irritating that you would take a pot shot like that. It's not a pot shot. It doesn't hurt me. Everybody is dopey. I don't care. But keep it real. I didn't ask any kids to send anything here. I'd already figured out how to get it illegal. It's not illegal for you to spray pages with road spray and send them to the clerk courts where the clerk court then quickly sends them to me. That's not illegal.
So Otto,
yeah.
Let's end this live with the question from I believe this is your son. And when we were talking about child abuse, these comments came through, which I totally had missed. And they had said, let's talk child abuse. Let's talk about the time you had kidnapped me when I was 5. Is there any?
Oh, that's my daughter.
That's your daughter.
That's
okay.
My daughter. Oh yeah, that's Paige. And which I knew she'd be on there because Faith was on there. Faith Elizabeth, beautiful lady. She was raising her for a while. You didn't get kidnapped, genius. I love you to death, Paige. But you didn't get kidnapped. You did not get kidnapped. I had custody paperwork. Amber Ernest was doing the law work in Toledo, Ohio. Amber Ernest, lawyer. Anybody want to look her up? She was filing the paperwork and everything. And I brought you to live with me because your mom said that your grandpa Ray, your mom who signed the paperwork, which I still have that piece of paper, all notarized and everything, stating that she gave me full rights and custody to you. That's why the cops didn't take you out of the house. But she said that Ray, Corley, had been touching her. Your mom did when she was a kid. You were hitting about 5. My life was going good. It was time to bring you up there and get you out of that shit. Okay? Now, you love your grandma to death, but let's talk about your grandmother's boyfriends who after Ray Corley died, when you called Faith to get rescued because they were sleeping with you. Let's talk about that. Nobody kidnapped you, little girl. And I don't know why you're mad at me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm a fucked up dad, but I never spanked you, never did anything to you. When your teeth rotted out of your mouth and I had to take you to surgery, I made a decision that you had to grow up around me. The only reason I took you back was because Nikki was screaming. She was screaming, scared I was going to go back to jail because your grandmother was trying to tell Columbus I kidnapped you, although we had all the legal rights in the city of Columbus and in the county of Lucas County. You were registered to go to school. Nobody kidnapped you. That shit your grandma put in your head. And I've never harmed you and never hurt you. You want to keep my grandkids from me? That's fine. They don't need to like me. I'm a maggot. That's all I can say. I love you to death, Paige. But you know I never did. You know the real. And you know why I took you. You know what? I'm supposed to let my daughter be raised there? I love you to death, but it's easier to be the victim. I don't play the victim well. At any rate, I love everybody. If anybody wants to write me, write me. Get a hold of me on Facebook, JPay. Figure it out. If somebody wants to run a Facebook page for me, I'm more than willing. And if somebody wants to get the money off my books that my kids should be getting from book sales, fine. Get a hold of me. I'll give it to you. They don't want it. I'm just trying. If you see somebody being victimized, step to the plate. But just don't follow through once you make sure. That's all I can say. Or people grow up to be like me, and I am a maggot. I fully accept that. But anyways, I love y'all to death, and take care, Eddie. I guess. I don't know, or whenever you're ready to end it. Any other questions?
I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for taking the time. We got almost 2 hours in, and any other questions that anybody wants to ask, you can feel free to drop some comments. And when we re-record the actual interview, I can ask those questions then. So
ask me the questions, and I'll get back whatever with on Facebook or anything else. If they want to talk to me or anything, get a hold of me. Tracy, I'll be calling you. I think 10 minutes left on the phone. Nice try, Faith. Faith just tried some dirtball shit tonight. because there's no way my daughter would have been calling some goofy shit like that. That's all down to faith. Yeah, no biggie. Yeah, why do people take pot shots? I'm harmless. I can't hurt you. I can't mention your name live over the airwaves unless I know you're listening. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact none of you motherfuckers would say jack shit to me if I was out there on the street. You wouldn't walk up and you'd rather fucking walk through a pit bull cage with pork chop panties on and cross me. So have a nice night. Go fuck yourselves. Not everybody else, but the people that know who I'm talking to. You fat ass Robert. I love you guys. See, that's my family. My family doesn't want me talking about this because it's embarrassing. You know? Yep, my name's Smith. None of your name is Smith. You're not associated to me. You're not on my Facebook, so you don't need to take pot shots. Yeah, that's really pissing me off. You know? Anyways, have a nice night. Sorry, Andy. I'm sorry about getting a little upset here at the end, but that's 3 people took pot shots. I'm sorry, Faith. You probably didn't know Paige is going to put some goofball shit up. But anyways, I do mean that. But I love you to death. And I'll talk to everybody later. Okay?
All right. Thanks for calling, Otto. Appreciate it.
Hey, had a good time. Bye.
All right. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. If you made it this far, in the near future, we'll be doing some more live Q&As. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them below. And when I do re-record the interview, I will ask those then. And yeah, make sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.